What is that feeling for you?
For me, it's that feeling when you see those students years later and you just think, wow, you've really taken control of your life. And I feel so lucky to have played a small part of their journey.
She told me, teacher, what you taught me helped me a lot because I speak English every day here in my job and things are very good.
Wow.
And she said, thank you. It was really nice.
She said, I'm in a higher level group there. Thank you. You made me speak. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that must have been very rewarding.
Ooh, really rewarding.
Wow. Got chills here thinking about the way you impacted that student's lives.
I love seeing her fly.
Hello, and welcome back to Grow, a podcast from Cambridge. I'm LuÍsa Geão, and today I'm joining you from Cambridge for a very special episode of Grow. We're celebrating that feeling when, those unforgettable moments when English teachers, like you, know they have made a difference. We'll look back at some of the most heartwarming that feeling when stories from previous Grow episodes, shared by teachers from their very own classrooms around the world. From that feeling when your learner says thank you, to that feeling when you see them succeed, you'll hear stories that show the true impact you can have on their lives. What's that feeling for you? As you listen, we encourage you to think about your own That Feeling When story and share it on social media with us using #CambridgeTFW. So let's get started and head to Paris in France, where I met Professor Csilla Ducroc. She shares a wonderful That Feeling When moment of how her students surprised her with a very special thank you on the last day of term.
Of course, I've had many of those moments. And one of the most recent ones was last fall when in my intercultural communication class with students who were studying for a master's degree in biology. And in the last class, they came with a little booklet that they had designed. And each one of them had written a few words about their experience. And they gave it to me on paper.
On paper.
With some flowers. And I was very touched.
Do you want to share one of those with us?
Thank you, Mrs. Ducroc, for having made possible for us to discover so many interesting cultures. Opened up our horizons, gave perspectives we could never had if it wasn't for you, made us bind to each other in a more beautiful way than we ever get to do in normal life, made me discover even things about myself, my culture, and my worldview. I hope you're aware how grateful we all are for putting enormous efforts to create this class and making it an awesome experience. I will never forget your dedication to give us a great culture experience. La science sans conscience n'est qu'une ruine de l'âme. Thank you for giving us, future scientists, the conscience that is much needed in this world.
Wow, that is beautiful and emotional.
Yeah.
It's the biggest of all rewards.
Absolutely.
Csilla, it's beautiful. We're staying in France for our next story, but heading to the town of Chantilly, where I met with a primary teacher, Sylvie Canal. Sylvie's That Feeling When story shows us how even the smallest gesture of gratitude from a young learner can have a huge impact.
You know, in primary school, the kids, they love to write notes to the teacher, you know, because they're young, they do drawings and notes. And every year they do some cards and they write to me, thank you for all you have taught me. So it's just cute.
It's so cute.
And I say yes, and they tell me thank you for the English, for everything. They're happy with all. So I have such a feeling, when I know that that's it.
That you made a difference, right?
Yes,
In the...
I hope.
For our next That Feeling When moment, we're in a classroom in Mexico City, where my co-host, Ricardo Morales, speaks to Rubén Hernández Rodriguez. And Rubén shares a story that many teachers will recognize. Sometimes an unexpected thank you outside the school reminds you that the impact of a teacher goes far beyond the lesson.
I was at the mall, and then someone called me Teacher Rubén, and I was turning around, and who's calling me Teacher Rubén? And it was a girl, and she told me, Teacher Rubén, don't you remember about me? And I saw her face, and yes, I said like, oh yeah, I remember about you. I gave her classes at high school, and then she told me, Teacher, now I am working in a company, and what you taught me helped me a lot because I speak English every day here in my job, and things are very good.
Wow.
And she said, thank you. And I felt like really happy to listen to her. It was really nice.
Oh, that's really
It was really, really
touching
nice.
and moving, right? And I'm sure that everyone listening would say like, yes, that's the moment when you say it's worth it all the way, right? Okay.
It was a good experience.
And that's something you treasure, don't you?
Yeah.
It's something you keep.
Those experiences, those times when they say, thank you, teacher.
Wow.
And I feel like this is something like, yes.
Next stop is London in the UK, where my co-host Joel Cutting spoke to John Slade, a teacher and CELTA trainer. John shares the moment he experienced a surprise reunion with a former student years down the line.
So for me, it's that feeling when you see those students years later and you just think, wow, you've really taken control of your life. And I feel so lucky to have played a small part of their journey right at the very beginning. I had a really beautiful moment, and I'd finished teaching and I was walking down the stairs just by reception. I looked down at the bottom of the stairs and this face looked up at me and went, John. And I hadn't seen this student. We worked out it was 11 years. I knew immediately who she was, and it was literally like she'd been in my class that morning. I just could not believe 11 years had passed. And then she started speaking to me, and I was absolutely blown away by how incredible her English was. And I remember when I was teaching her, and she sort of lacked a bit of confidence. She was, a bit shy, and she must have been at Stafford House for about 6 months. And she really came out of her shell, and she really worked hard. And obviously gone back to Mexico, and she's now got a career working for her father, who's a surgeon. And she works a lot with his English patients. And so she uses English every day. But I was just so excited to see her because I'd been with her right at the start of that journey, and I'd seen sort of how difficult that had been for her to be away from home, and how much, her confidence needed to grow. And she just worked so hard to achieve that. And then to not see her for all that time. And then suddenly she was there, and she was so confident. Her English was fantastic. She'd got a brilliant job. She was earning money, and she was out there doing what she really wanted to do. So yeah, that's a really incredible feeling.
That sounds like that could have been quite an emotional moment after all those years.
It really was.
And those are the reasons why teaching is such a rewarding and fulfilling experience and profession, aren't they?
Yeah.
For a final story, we're heading to Brazil, where my co-host Rebecca Rios meets with teacher Fernanda Batalha. Fernanda captures beautifully the transformation that can happen when a teacher believes in a student who doesn't yet believe in themselves. This is that feeling when you see a learner going from silence to confidence, and you know you've helped them to fly.
So I had a student here when I started working here, like one year after I started working here, and she would be in the corner of the room. She wouldn't talk, and when I got closer and I said, "Talk, read, say this word," she said, "No, I can't. I don't know. English is not for me. I don't like it." I don't know. And then I asked her, like, "What could happen to you if you said something wrong? Just tell me what could happen." She looked at me and said, like, "Don't know. A bad grade." I said, "No, I'm not evaluating you. Am I going to tell everyone?" Like, "No. So say it." And then it was not only that, yeah, but we used to have these conversations once in a while. And she started talking. She got really good. She changed groups. She went to a more advanced group. And she studied here into the 9th grade. And then they go to other schools. And they come back to visit us. Right. And then she came back, she said, "I'm in a higher level group there. Thank you. You made me speak." Yeah, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that must have been very rewarding.
Ooh, really rewarding.
Yeah. Wow. I got chills here thinking about the way you impacted that student's lives.
I love seeing her like, no, fly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is really good. Once I got a chocolate and with a message saying, "Thank you for teaching me the present perfect, for making me understand the present perfect." And I was like, "Oh, cute." And that was the same feeling. Yeah, there is something big, there is something small, but it's the same feeling.
Listening to these stories reminds me of my own teaching experiences. And for me, it's that feeling when you witness a student flourishing. That shy student that sits at the back of the class that suddenly gains the confidence to speak. And I remember a very special moment, a student that was extremely shy and gradually gained confidence. And at the end of the year, he came to me and gave me a drawing where I, as the teacher, was represented as an elephant. And I was carrying the other students, all the students, on my back. And that drawing made me smile so much. I still keep it. And it's just a reminder of the strength of a teacher and how we carry our students with us. And I carry that drawing wherever I go, but I always have it in a place where I can see it to remember that we carry the people, that our students with us. And I think that's beautiful. Listening to these stories is a reminder that human connection is at the heart of teaching. These meaningful moments quietly shape ours and our students' lives. Whether you're just starting out in your teaching journey or you've been in the classroom for many years, we hope these stories encourage you to enjoy your own that feeling when moments. And remember, we would love to hear from you. So share your story on social media using the hashtag CambridgeTFW. If you've enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe to Grow, a podcast from Cambridge, and leave us a rating or a review. See you soon for the next episode. Cambridge is where your world grows.